The purpose of this screencast is to kind of give you guys an idea of what IXL is, how we use it in the classroom, and if you want to use it at home, what are some of the features you can do at home to work with your kid. So when you log in, it'll come to this dashboard page. The kids will be bringing home sheets with their login information if you choose to. So once Christian logs in, this is what it'll look like. It'll say, "Hi Christian, good morning." And we call this a dashboard. And anything that I assigned in class will show up here, so they're not searching through the program to find it. Also recent skills that he's worked on and what IXL would recommend. So pretty much we're just looking for this when we log in during school. If you notice over here, there's two things that say that your real-time diagnostic levels are to date. That's something we do in class. You never have to worry about that at home. Basically what IXL does is continually monitor where they're at different levels, and it gives us a score. And then underneath here is your MAP study plan. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but right now we're going to kind of just shelve that. So once you get in here, you have your dashboard and also you have your quizzes. So if you're wondering, there's no papers that come home for the most part. We do a few practice pages, but we do take quite a few quizzes on here. So if you click on that and you want to see how your student is doing, this will give you all the data. I'm actually not going to go through, obviously all of Christian's stuff, but he's doing very well. But you can see, the percentages here. And if we wanted to get into here and actually look at it, you can click on this and it'll give a report of his quiz, what the questions look like, and how he did on each one. So that's that. So that's your My Excel tab, where you go to the dashboard, what I'm assigning, and also what the quizzes are. The next tab up here is that we use, this is where we live during the week, is our learning, and then we pretty much come over to the math, and this takes us to the skills. So this is, let me click on third grade. So this is where we live. So pretty much whatever skill we are learning in class, IXL provides some independent practice or even some other resources to help kids practice and learn. So this is every skill pretty much covered in our standards that they can practice. So after a lesson, or even I use these for some of the actual lessons, we can assess it right away and they can practice right away. Now even up here it shows you how many skills there are. There's actual lessons they could click on. A new feature that IXL has is they have a ton of videos that students can watch. And obviously I want to keep this kind of short, so I'm not going to go through all the videos, but if someone is struggling and you want a video at home, there's probably a video to help them. They're all short, about 4 or 5 minutes, kind of like Khan Academy is, get you in and get you out. And then also IXL purchased ABC. So any game that was on ABC is also on IXL. So obviously, games, something that you want your kids off of YouTube at home or off of whatever they're doing. The game feature's nice. The video feature's nice. So anything like that you definitely could be doing at home. Any of the stuff that's on the skills, I really want you to kind of stay away from at home. Those are the things that we are, assigning in class. And the last thing I want is to have your kid done with all of the FFs here. And then when I go to assign them in class, you've already done them. And then I'm trying to figure out, what am I going to do with that student who's already done it. So leave that for me, and I'm going to show you some other things that you can do at home if you want. So that's really the learning tab. That's really all we're going to get into right now. So you have your dashboard, you have your learning, which we live in a lot of the day at school. And then your assessment tab. This one's a little bit more confusing, once you get it, it really makes sense. So this is the arena. Step into the arena. That is the weekly diagnostic assessment. It takes like 5 to 8 minutes. The kids hop in, answer some questions, and it updates their scores. So once those scores are updated, it changes down here. So I'm going to show you here. This is what we call our spider web. So as they're working on that in the arena, it's constantly changing their levels. So this is broken down into our different strands: number operations, algebra, fractions, geometry, measurement, and data. And it gives a score for one. So as they're working through the year, these scores are going to go up. And it's adaptive, so the better they do, these numbers go up, and the recommended skills change. So at home, this is one of the things that you can really use if you're looking to extend your student. We use it usually on Thursdays and Fridays during our extension days, and students can work on and hone in on what they need to practice. So right now, let's say we want Christian to practice his numbers and operations. He's got 2 recommended skills here. He clicks on that tab, and he can try that skill right there, and it's going to improve that numbers and operations score. This is something that he's shown in his diagnostic that he can practice and get better at, and it should be at his level. So all these things should be at a level that they can learn and practice on their own. They may need a little bit of help, but for the most part, they can kind of hop in here and practice these skills. So that's a very powerful tool at home that you could be using with them. So if I were to recommend one thing to be doing at home, they can always just work on their spider web. And they know that. We've talked about it very much at school, so they know at home we want them in their spider web. And the last tab is the analytics tab. And that's just if you're curious how they're doing. So this is his diagnostic level from when we started. And as the year goes, that number is going to track. That number is going to keep going, up as Christian learns more and more. So that's as we go, it'll show more. We're just now at the very, very beginning. This will also tell him how many questions he's answered, how long he's been on it, how many skills he's done, what these skills are, and then most importantly, how's he doing. So you get 2 ribbons as you go. So the blue ribbon means you're proficient, and that this means he's mastered it. So if you're curious about what your kid's doing, how they're doing, you can use that login information, and you can go from there. It also gives him some things he's struggled with. So that's how we're using, in class. If they're struggling, it's a great way to organize, so we can kind of get them the help where they need. So that's a very, very brief overview of IXL. I want to take you back to the very beginning. I said I'd come back to this. The last thing that's on here that might confuse you is this study plan. So at the start of the year, we took all those MAP tests. We took MAP tests for math, language arts, 2 language arts, a reading and a language. So what we can do with that data is Christian's score was very unique to him, so we can take that data, enter it into IXL, and it comes up with a personal plan. So Christian's plan is different than everyone else's in our classroom based on how he scored in the 4 different sections of that MAP test. So this is just a whole list of facts, a list of skills that he could be working on. That's saying that if you score in the 195 to 200 RIT, that he should be able to do. And as you notice, these RIT scores are going to change as we go. So here's another RIT score. So he's still in the 195 range. So all these are things that he could be doing independently at home even. All right, so here's another RIT score. So on this one, he scored a little bit lower on, so it gives him a different set of skills. As if he scored a 200, he'd have different scores. So this is a very personalized way of practicing. And that's something you can also do at home if they would want to. Now, once the year gets going and we don't have so much throwing at these kids, eventually we will get to this. But right now, we're working mostly in what we would call the spider web. And then as we get going and get a better feel, we'll spend a little bit more time on that growth plan. But that should give you a pretty basic idea of what we're doing, how we're using the program, and if you are choosing to do it at home, some things that you can do at home. So in review at home, we're looking for the spider web or the individual study plan. So if you have any questions, obviously reach out to me, let me know. And there's a lot more to this, but that at least should get you started and give you a better idea of what's going on. Thank you.